man is hiking with his 2 young daughters in a valley outside Bergen, Norway when they find her. Her front is burned black. Her face is gone. But the ground around her isn't. No scorched grass. No burned branches. Nothing to say where a fire big enough to do this actually was. Beside her, an umbrella, a wristwatch, a passport holder. Empty. Whoever she was, she'd made sure the fire wouldn't be the thing that told us. By the time she died, she had already stopped being herself 7 times. Genevieve, Claudia, Vera, Alexia. 4 more names after that. 4 more fake passports to match. Every hotel she stayed in, she scraped the labels off her own clothes. Norway would ask this exact question about a woman with no name one more time. 25 years later, on the 28th floor of a hotel in Oslo. This isn't that woman. This one came first. And unlike Oslo, nobody ever agreed on how she died. For 8 months before anyone found her, she crossed Norway and half of Europe. And every single person who met her believed a different lie. Spring 1970. A woman checks into a hotel in Oslo. She gives her name as Genevieve Lancier, Belgian, she says. Her passport agrees with her. 4 days later, she's in Bergen at a different hotel under a different name, Claudia Tielt. Over the next 8 months, she will do this at least 6 more times. Claudia Nielsen, Alexia Zarne Merches, Vera Jarl. 2 more after that. Every passport is fake. Every Belgian address on every form is fake, except as far as anyone has ever worked out, one, and nobody knows why that one wasn't. She keeps a small notebook. In it, dates and cities. Written in a shorthand, so plain, the police break it in an afternoon. 11th to the 16th. A single letter for the city. It isn't a code built to defeat anyone. It's a code built so only she needs to read it. Oslo, Stavanger, Bergen, Kristiansand, a Danish port town, Hamburg, Basel, Stockholm, a ski resort in the mountains, Paris twice. She is never in one place long enough to become a person anyone remembers clearly. That is, it turns out, the entire point. But in one hotel for 1 week in November, she wasn't alone. And the man she was with was never identified. Hotel Neptune, Bergen, the last week of October. She checks in as Alexia Zarne Merches. Staff there remember her the way staff remembered her everywhere. Well-dressed, guarded, mostly in her room. She sometimes wore wigs. She sometimes asked to change rooms after she'd already checked into one. This time she's seen with a man. Nobody working the hotel that week can say who he was or where he went. Elsewhere, a witness overhears her speaking German with a man in a different Bergen hotel. Fluent, unhesitating. She tells people she's a saleswoman, an antiques dealer. Neither has ever been confirmed. Nothing about her has ever been confirmed. On the 23rd of November, she checks out of a hotel for what turns out to be the last time anyone sees her alive. What happened in the 6 days after that, nobody has ever been able to say. Room 407, Hotel Hordeheimen, Bergen. The 23rd of November, 1970. She pays in cash. She asks the desk to call her a taxi, and then nothing. No hotel record, no witness, no sighting anyone has ever been able to confirm for 6 full days. On the 29th, she is found in a valley outside the city, burned, less than a day's walk from where she was last seen checking out. 6 days is not a long time. It is long enough to disappear in, and short enough that someone, somewhere, should have seen something. Nobody ever came forward, not then. What was actually done to her body when it was finally found raises a harder question than where she'd been. The valley is called Isdalen. Ice Valley. On the north face of a mountain called Ulriken, above Bergen. She is lying on her back. Her hands are clenched, the position a body takes when fire has drawn the muscles tight. She had swallowed a large number of sleeping pills. Most accounts put it between 50 and 70. There was soot in her lungs. That means one specific thing. When the fire started, she was still breathing, and there was bruising on her neck. Hold those three facts together, and they don't agree with each other. Enough pills to kill her on their own. A fire she was alive to breathe in. And a bruise that doesn't obviously belong to a woman who lay down alone. Around her, an empty liquor bottle, melted plastic, rubber boots, a ring, a watch, earrings, nothing taken. And again, every label gone from everything she wore. 3 days later, in a train station locker across the city, 2 suitcases confirmed exactly how far she'd gone to make sure this moment never led anywhere. Bergen railway station, left luggage. 2 cases unclaimed. Inside clothes, shoes, several wigs, a tube of eczema cream, currency from 4 different countries, maps, timetables, and the notebook. Every mark that could identify the owner has been removed from everything inside. The same as the body, the same as the clothes on the hill. But on a pair of sunglasses inside one case, there are fingerprints. And they match her. It's the one mistake in 8 months of not making mistakes. A pair of glasses she forgot to wipe. What happened next should have been the end of the story. It was the beginning of a second failure. At autopsy, her jaw and teeth are removed and kept separately. Her dental work is unusual enough that someone thinks it might matter later. The ruling that follows is probable suicide. Almost nobody working the case believes it. One investigator years later will put it plainly. Very few of them thought it was suicide at the time. On the 5th of February 1971, she is buried in an unmarked grave in a Bergen cemetery in a zinc coffin. 16 police officers attend. They photograph the burial, not for her, but in case someone someday comes forward to say they know who she was. Nobody does. Not for decades. Because while Bergen was closing her file, she had already been seen somewhere she had no reason to be. A fisherman later says he saw a woman matching her description near a site where Norway was secretly testing a new guided missile. It's the detail that turned this from a strange death into, for many people, a spy story. The false identities, the fluency in German and French, the wiped fingerprints, a woman who erased every trace of herself as a matter of habit rather than panic. Decades later, Norwegian intelligence admits, quietly long after the fact, that it had investigated her at the time and had been interested in exactly those reports. Its own files reach no conclusion. 3 years after her death, Israeli agents kill a man in the Norwegian town of Lillehammer. A real operation, a real innocent man, a case of mistaken identity that becomes an international scandal. Afterward, one senior Norwegian investigator wonders out loud whether the woman in the valley might connect to the same networks. It is a question, not an answer. It has stayed a question for over 50 years. The only thing that ever moved this case forward again wasn't an agent or a witness. It was her own jawbone. In 2016, a journalist persuades Bergen police to reopen the case. The jaw kept in 1970 is still there, in evidence storage, 46 years later. For the first time in a Norwegian investigation, scientists run isotope analysis on it. a technique that reads the chemistry of a childhood out of a single tooth. The result? She likely grew up near Nuremberg in Germany, then moved as a child toward the French border. Her DNA points somewhere else entirely, a maternal line from southeastern Europe. No match in any database. No relative has ever come forward. Even her own body tells two different stories about where she came from, and neither one has a name attached. She spent 8 months making sure nobody could trace her. 55 years later, nobody still can. This is the case of the Isdalen woman. This is Dark Atlas.